welcome to the Logan graduation for 2017. We've had an eventful and kind of roller coaster morning already. Thank you for gifts from our 8th graders, gifts from our 7th graders to our 8th graders, future predictions from our project teachers back to our 8th grade students who are leaving today, as well as, of course, lunch and so on. So it's been a really nice morning for all of us. I hope you get a chance to enjoy the formalities now. Really recognizing our 8th graders for their time with us and presentation of their diplomas and flowers, and a chance for our teachers to say goodbye. Immediately following, we'll meet in the multi-purpose room for some cake and punch and a chance to just visit and say one last goodbye before the summer starts. You guys have all these little high school kids, so we'll wish them all the best of luck. We're actually going to start before our diploma presentation with some of our speakers, and so we really appreciate those students who wrote remarks for their fellow classmates and for their postgraduate class and teachers and so on. Logos is pretty important to all of us. I think this is my 24th graduation. So like that high school teacher said I never graduated. 25 times. I showed this order. So there you go. So I want to wish you all the best at that as well. So our first speaker will be Logan Matthews. Logan, if you can come up to the front as soon as possible.
Hi, I'm Logan. I just wanted to start by saying that before Hibbard, I had always been kind of an outsider. For the longest time, I wouldn't really talk to people. Everyone thought I was weird, and I liked that. I liked the fact that I was different and didn't like the same stuff as everyone else. I used that weirdness to my advantage. I would use it to kind of keep people away from me, almost. I like seclusion. It was comfortable to me. I've always liked my own privacy. The only people I would talk to were the people that I believed had accepted me for who I am. And before I came to this school, there weren't very many people that were close friends to me. I could probably count them on one hand. When I came to Hibbard first time when we were in Wings in 4th grade, many of the 8th graders will remember, I met some of these people who would later become my closest friends. All of us were strange, and we all had our own little quirks. We grew up through the years in this building. Some left us, others joined us, but in the end, we all gave something to this school. We all accepted that we were, in our own way, weird and somewhat outcasted from our elementary classes. We all became not just friends, but family. Everything will inevitably fall apart. Times will change, and we will go to different schools later on in our lives. But does any of that really matter? The fact is, we live in the present. What happens now is up to us, not chance. We have chosen our friends wisely, and I believe we have made the best decision. Even our teachers, through our years at Hibbard, have been amazing to us, even if some of them have left us to do better things. Honestly, when I was first given the chance to come to this school, it was quite a hard decision. I didn't know what kind of people would be here. I didn't know if the few people I trusted had decided to come here as well. I chose the place because I believed any other school would like me less. I came here the first couple of years, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. This school is strange, and strange people go here. I'm glad to be one of them. I'm glad to stand next to my 8th grade class as one of the weirdos. Glad to be next to my teachers as Hibbard alumni. Glad to be done with this finally. The questions are answered. The page has turned. Thank you for everything, I guess. That's all I have to say.
I'm going to keep this relatively short. I'm Livi, And anybody who really knows me knows that I love the story Peter Pan. I've read the book, I've watched several movies, I watched the Once Upon a Time version, and I've read and watched all sorts of sequels. And about 2 years ago, I had the honor of sharing the stage with Mallory Bolser, who is a 7th grader here, when she played Wendy Darling in Peter Pan Jr. A few months ago, I was given the opportunity to act as Wendy Darling for Storybook Cafe. The only problem I've ever really had with this story is that in the end, Wendy leaves the nursery, which is dumb because not only why would you ever leave Neverland, but because I thought it didn't make sense. She didn't want to grow up, so she went to a place where you're never supposed to grow up, and in the end, she grew up. It kind of made me a bit angry until I kind of realized that the same thing has happened to me. Logos is a fantastic program, and the people in it reflect that. Logos kids have a strong tendency to be fun, loving, kind, and immature, sometimes in good ways and sometimes in bad. But we dance, we run around barefoot, we joke, and we do our best to have fun. We skip through hallways. Shroyer even sometimes answers the phone, Neverland. In my 4 years in this program, I've grown up a ridiculous amount without even realizing it. I enjoyed myself, and I came out better because of it. And while I would gladly stay here and gain as much experience as I can, everybody has to grow up, and everybody has to leave the nursery. So I hope that you all learn to do the same, to grow up by enjoying yourself and know when it's time to move on.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this without crying. I'm gonna bring this up. You guys are short. Okay. 302,400 minutes I have spent walking through the halls of Hibbard, not always appreciating or seeing the opportunities around me. But today I want to make the last few moments I have count. Because once I step away from this microphone and receive my diploma, it'll all be over. These last few words I speak to you will be my legacy. I will never skip down the halls with Mr. Shroyer. I will never sit and gossip with Miss Vincent. And I will never get to ask Mr. Goodwin, or I never get to hear Mr. Goodwin talk about his engagement. Along with the rest of my small but mighty 8th grade class, we leave you to take care of Logos, to see the things we did right and make them your own, and to change the things we did wrong and make them better, to change how people view us as a school, and to be caring and loving towards one another. Because, as we've heard before, we're a pretty tight-knit family here. And before you know it, you'll be leaving your legacy on Logos, and you want it to be something worth remembering. 5,040 classes that, no matter how strange or boring they seem, will turn you into an amazing student and individual. They will push you to do things that at first you thought were impossible. Through all of the hardships and struggles that we throw in your way, you will meet the most amazing people who will support you and love you beyond the walls of Hibbard. If I've learned one thing this year, it is that it's important to be kind and loving to one another, because you never know when your time will be over. 720 days I've spent among those who pushed me to become something I never thought I could be. People who have become more of family than friends and constantly make me want to be a better student and person. Each day I am so honored to be around all these people who love and support me, and I hope I do the same for them. 5 teachers who have this amazing talent to change you into a person that you never saw yourself becoming. Those 5 people have watched me grow from a short kid with a lot to say to a much taller kid with even more to say. And I cannot thank them enough for all those who deal with my constant ramblings every day. Within the walls of this place, there's so much love and talent for each and every one of you. One last word before I go. I want all of you to remember to never let yourselves be limited by what you think you can't do. Every person in this room has something special that only they can do, and with that in mind, you'll be able to achieve whatever you put your mind to.
Oh my gosh. Dear past, I look back on you with joyous recollection. You're all I know, and with you I've lost and gained many friends and learned many things. I feel as if during this time I was sleepwalking. Dear Logos, it was here I woke up. I cannot express how grateful I am to have been a part of this experience. I had been to multiple schools, but I've never felt more at home than I have throughout these last 3 years. When given When given a choice to do it all over again, I would decline without even the slightest bit of regret. But I do ask one thing of you, Logos. Please keep me in mind. Dear future, have I changed the world? Have my friends? I'm sorry. Is Mr. Shroyer still scared of paper tassels? I have so many questions for you, but I will wait to meet you. What a wonderful thought it is that some of the best days of our lives haven't happened yet. Dear President, here I stand among the people I can call family. My heart is beating out of my chest, and I'm conflicted between feeling happy and sad. I'm leaving so many people and memories behind, but I'm also preparing to face a new adventure. I know not to be afraid of change, for I may be losing something good, but it is all in the hopes of becoming someone great. To quote Aristotle, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Thank you, Miss Mays, Mr. Goodwin, Mrs. Vincent, Mr. Menchaca, Mr. Shroyer, Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Kirk, and all of my friends for teaching me the ways of the mind, heart, and the world.
Okay. 294 days ago, I started my 8th grade year. I've been waiting since 5th grade to have those things called 8th grade rights, as Michaela called them, and hand down those things called wills. Now that the day is finally here, I wish I could go back. I've had the best experiences at Hibbard, and even though the stress of projects were overwhelming, in the end, I'm really going to miss them. Some of my favorite memories happened in project group. I'm so glad that I've had such a hilarious and lovable project group over the years. I've had the opportunity to do so many fun and unique projects in all of my classes. As stressful as World Sim was, it was a really, really cool experience. I wanted to thank my wonderful teachers for putting up with me for the four years I was at Hibbard. Thank you, Miss Mays, for always telling us the most interesting stories about your horses. Thank you, Miss Vincent, for always pushing us to be better riders. Thank you, Mr. Goodwin, for always letting us know that you are happily engaged. Thank you, Mr. Menchaca, for putting up with us this year. And we all know that was a very big struggle. And thank you to my favorite always, Mr. Shroyer, for letting me joke around with you about your views on politics, gender, and anything else that day. And last but not least, the living legend herself, Miss Williams. You made my 6th and 7th grade years some of the best years possible. This year was not the same without you, but you were always in all of our minds every single day. So, thanks, everyone.
I think it's pretty clear why we don't give speeches after we don't think it's famous. So, we'll move on to handing out diplomas as well. We had not heard the speeches they just gave until just now, so bear with us just a little. You guys are... It is a pleasure to hand out the Logos diplomas this year. Emily Rice. Phoebe Caraway. Braylon M. James. coast to coast. Emma Bradley. Coral L. Gregory. We practiced this really well. We'll do this in just a second. Alyssa Pollard. After you get your diplomas, you would be so kind as to have a seat over here in these clearly empty pews. So that you know walk in front of you and be the diploma with them and not when they have a picture. Livi Hand. Lily. Jacqueline Edith Pop. Rebecca Monet Bly. Logan Charles Davis Matthews. Quinn. Luke Christopher Carey. Madeline Avery Stoltz. Eric Swingo. Jack P. Weber. So we really appreciate all you've done. There's nothing I can say up here beyond what you've heard from your friends and your classmates and your teachers all day for what an impact you can have with the young people we get to spend our time with. We were lucky, Miss Etherton is here somewhere. I got a chance to talk to her. I think this will be my 25th year. And you know, every year has its ups and downs, but it's always nice to come back, and I guess maybe you've done something for 25 years, it must be okay. So, thank you so much for all your time. We're going to let the 8th graders dismiss to the reception, and then we invite all of you to join us in the reception and